It's my great pleasure today to have a fireside chat from Gloucestershire Fire and Rescue Service as the first Sikh firefighter in the British Fire Service who had to compromise a lot of things such as cutting my hair and not having a beard. I'm pleased to meet somebody who does practice a lot of the Sikh traditions with a turban and has been able to come to terms with how he's adapted his way of practicing Sikhism to being able to accommodate those health and safety needs for breathing apparatus. But first of all, tell us about your journey from India to Italy to here to join the fire service.
Of course, born in India, and I was around age 6, 7 when parents moved to Italy for work reasons. And I always wanted to be an Indian Army officer because of my grandparent been in the Army, some of my uncles been in the Army or either in the Indian Police Force, and most of my mom's side of family been either in the Army or in the Police Force. So I grew up since I was little with people in a uniform around me. And I always wanted, since I was little, to become like one of them. Of course, when the parents moved to Italy, that was not possible anymore. And when they applied for the Italian passport, which I'm happy to be, they did it because I love the Italian part that is in me, because I have embraced both culture. I embraced the Indian.
To UK?
Just a change. I just wanted to change. No, I come here with my wife. And some of our family was already here from even previous generation. They was already here, so some of my relatives was already living in England. But my mentality is different. I didn't come here to them.
So let me just get that as a summary. So you've had a life of experience as a Sikh where your family has been involved in that concept of Sikhism, seva. Yes. Working in public services, working in military services is part of the Sikh tradition of seva. Yes. And therefore you've had that ambition. When you came to the UK and you thought about joining the different services, tell us about how you came to the conclusion the fire service was the right one for you.
I think it's the closest one we have to work in our community. And especially every time you speak to someone about the fire service, I must say 95% of the time people have respect, utmost respect for the brigade in the area. So because of first was that, second was the growing up in a family where even my granddad is an army officer, but after he retired he became what we call in our tradition a priest, granthi in the local Gurdwara. So I grew up with him telling me all the stories about our gurus, about their kids, about the sacrifice that they always made for the community. So I think it was just a natural process then.
Okay. So now tell us about, once you made that decision of, you told me earlier, you didn't want to join the military services because a lot of the military services around the world, in Italy and the UK, invade other countries. That wasn't something that sat with you well with your faith. Therefore, you decided maybe policing or fire may be the right ones. Your research then told you that fire was the right one for you because of its values and what it was trying to do for the community. Yes. Tell us about how you applied and how you got to know about what you needed to do to be successful in your application.
I think I was just passing by with my, I can't remember if it was a motorcycle or if I was with my car, just passing by in front of the station. And I see one of the lady firefighter that was there, and approach her, ask her like how I can join. And she straight away gave me the number of the watch manager. She told me it's on Wednesday night, we do a drill night, come over and he will be here. I know that he's gonna be there on Wednesday night and you can have all the information you need. And I was free that Wednesday evening and made sure that stay free, and I just.
So when you went to see the station manager and you had a turban and you had a full beard?
No, because I was with the motorcycle, I was full beard, but I had the parquet.
No, so when you went to see him,
Yes, I had a full beard.
you had a full beard. Did he question you on your beard and your turban, or was he very accommodating?
He was accommodating. I'm gonna be honest. Can even mention him, Paul Powell, his name is, and
What was his name?
Paul Powell.
Paul Power. Really important to remember. Here's a fire and rescue service getting a individual who does not fit the traditional role, who does not meet the so-called health and safety requirements of wearing a helmet because he's got a turban on and he's got a full beard. Tell us how that conversation went.
He of course explained me. He explained me all how the breathing apparatus work, and how I will have to cut the beard at a certain level, because in Gloucester Fire Service, as long as you can make a seal around here, you're allowed to have facial hair just in this area. And of course, I know about the helmet side of it, but previous experience of even by law, you can't ride a motorcycle with turban. And I love motorcycles, so I had to put the bandana so keep my hair there so I can put my helmets on.
So you do that for safety, obviously, because if you remember, there is a Sikh exception for Sikhs to wear a turban and not wear a helmet. That was one in the 1970s. But you decided for your safety you'd wear a helmet.
Yes, I decided to put the bandana on and wear the helmet because for one main reason is not as much as the riders. Is most of the time is the other people on the road that gonna hit your motorcycle.
So it gives me a feeling that you're an individual who's able to assess the health and safety risks, assess the risks to other people, and say, here's my compromise. Because Sikhism is practiced many different ways by many different people, including myself and the person who's filming this film, Bassi, is also a Sikh. So tell me then about your journey once you've applied as a firefighter. How has it been? What have been the challenges and what's been the rewards?
I think I've been lucky compared to the interview, the story chain that was going inside early on compared to the other guys, because the time I joined the service was when all the battles that you guys fought, I think that's how they start giving results. So because of that, I can be lucky. I can be lucky for the work that others have done, and that show up in the way I think I've been treated from day one at the station. Yes, there's been people who've been maybe on defensive, never racist. They never been like racist, but defensive because they don't know you. You are the first. I was the first Sikh on its own to join Gloucester Fire Service, so I don't blame. I will have probably the same reaction if I was in India, see someone from another background coming in.
So how many years you done now?
Nearly 4 years now.
4 years. What's your hope for the future?
Becoming a full-time firefighter, of course.
Yeah. And have you applied yet, or you will?
I'm going for it, yeah.
Right. I think it's been an amazing interview. And gives real hope for the British Fire Service that all faiths can be accommodated in the fire and rescue service and respected, but individuals also need to understand that they have an obligation of health and safety compliance, both to the organisation, to themselves and their families. I'm really proud to have met Satnam Singh of Gloucestershire Fire and Rescue Service, the first Sikh turban-wearing firefighter in the British Fire Service. What this story tells me is that individuals who have an aspiration to join the Fire and Rescue Service can be. There are no barriers that can't be broken with compromise and common sense. But also the leadership needs to be accommodated. It was really interesting to hear Satnam's story of rolling up to a fire station with a full beard, a turban on a motorbike, asking how he could join the fire service, and being met by a station officer who did not put barriers in his way, but just told him the honest truths of what he needed to do Then Satnam going away and considering how he could be a firefighter and thinking that, yeah, if I shave my beard, I can serve my community, but don't have to compromise my values, don't have to compromise my turban and my outward appearance to the Sikh community or the general community. I'm pleased to see that progress. Gloucestershire Fire and Rescue Service have got 2 firefighters now that you can visibly see are so different from other firefighters. We have Obi, who is a Rastafarian with full-fledged dreads, and we have Satnam. There's no other fire brigade in this country that's got 2 firefighters that look so differently, where they've been accommodated under health and safety, BA, and everything else. So well done to Gloucestershire Fire and Rescue Service, well done to the leadership, but well done to these 2 individuals for not being too shy in asking, how do we compromise, how do we come together, and how do we make a difference?